Next up, we have number 5 on the 10 Commandments of Commercial Real Estate, which is the 5 data points. This is something that I can do to look at a deal and underwrite it, tabletop underwriting, in about 120 seconds. So in 2 minutes, I can figure out whether or not a deal is a deal for me. So first off, we look at the current NOI. What is the property doing actually today or last year? What has it been doing in the last 12 months? What is the net operating income of this? If you're not familiar with net operating income, you have no business in commercial real estate. So if you have a question, we have a newbie dictionary, we can get to you, and we can go from there on our relationship. But you have to know what the NOI is. A lot of times people will look at the current or actual NOI and go forward from there, which is great. However, if it's going to be a value add or opportunistic deal, you're going to want to look at the pro forma NOI as well. So if we look at the pro forma NOI, which is Latin for made up numbers, you take a look at that and see if it makes sense that you can go from the current NOI to the pro forma NOI. If you're going to double this number, that's great. How are you going to do it? As a sponsor and LP, you have to understand very well how this gets taken care of. One of the challenges here is, the biggest challenge is that when you look at offering memorandums, OMs, from brokers, they don't have the current NOI. They have the pro forma NOI, and then they capitalize that off a pro forma NOI to come up with a valuation. Absolutely 100% wrong. You need to know what the current NOI is. Here's the challenge. So if you're going to take a value add deal, you're going to put $1 million into its improvements, and you're going to take all the risk of moving tenants out, doing tenant improvements, releasing the property, putting those people into the property, all the construction risk, all the vacancy risk over a period of, let's say, 2 years. Why would I pay the current owner for what I'm going to do and all the work that I'm going to do, and the owner gets to reap the rewards from that? That does not make sense. Very, very recently, I had some friends here that were looking to purchase an apartment property, and the OM was wrong. It was very misleading on what the actual income was. We got the actual income, current NOI, and it went from about a 7.5 cap acquisition valuation to like 3. It didn't make sense. So in this case, we said, hey, this is not a deal for us unless we significantly downward adjust the purchase price. It didn't happen, so we moved on. Next, we want to look at the debt. The reason you want to look at a debt when you acquire a property is to see if the seller is trying to get out of the deal just because he has too much debt on it. It's a $7 million property, and he has $6.5 million worth of debt. He's probably selling it for $7 million because he wants to have a little go-home money and get out of the deal. In this case, there's some strategies that you can use to let the property, you can pick it up later from the mortgage through either REO or non-accrual, because that's what's going to end up happening. There's too much debt on the property, and it's going to nosedive really quick. Finally, sources and uses. I'm actually underwriting a deal right now. They have very beautiful sources and uses. How they're going to acquire the property, what the fees are going to be, by percentage. They have what their improvement budget's going to be. They have all these sources and uses, and it's very nice. It balances. I get a lot of them, though, that don't balance. They say it's $10 million of sources and $9.7 million of uses. Where's that $300,000 going? I don't know. Until you can come up with a good answer for that, give me a call back. But in the interim, everything that you do is now suspect to me. So sources and uses, they have to balance. I'm not an accounting major, but I know some math. Finally, exit. There's only 2 ways to exit a property at any given time: the refinance or the sale. In tight credit markets, refinance might not be available, and sale could be the only option. Unfortunately, it could be also a soft sale market, and there could be a possible loss on that opportunity. We need to understand, how are you going to get out of this property? If I give you $100, Mr. Sponsor, how is that $100 going to come back to me? How fast and when? Those are really good questions that you need to ask. There's oftentimes they say it's a 5-year term. That sounds great. What happens at the end of the 5 years? You get your money back. How do I get my money back? It's very confusing, and I don't want to have to ask these questions. As a sponsor, you want me to be an LP, raise money for your deals, you need to be telling me this stuff. If you're a sponsor, you're going out to LPs without these 5 data points, you're probably doing something wrong. We need to get that fixed.